Hi, and welcome to this short tutorial on the new scenario creation and calculation methods in ARMS version 3.6. We're going to look at three new features, having tenor-specific flooring and target levels, and making historical scenarios simple. And I'm going to go through what they are with an example. Okay, so we open the scenarios editor used in ARMS, and we can now add the examples of these new scenario features. So let's start with an historical scenario. Create a new one, and we need to name that hist scenario. Let's say that we do something around February 2019, and let's also then set some risk factors. So we will search out generically all the equities, and we will set that to a scenario being the difference between two dates. So let's do February. Let's do start of February to then end of February. That will be our scenario. So all the equities change for the month of February. And we add that, and we can save this scenario. So now we're done. And then we can either add more risk factors. We can actually mix dates, but we will do yet another scenario to look at the next feature that I talked about, and that will be setting a target scenario. So let's set all yields to 3%. That's our scenario. This is used in some stress testing exercises with the EBA. So let's then ask for series, and we'll again go and search for all our risk factors of type interest rate, and that we will set to target 3%. And we add that. And then we save it. And just to show you the last feature, it was the flooring feature that we didn't have before. And that's used in the IRBB context. And if we do a parallel shock down, or the rotation shock, the steepener and flattener, we need to be able to set a floor that's tenor specific. And what I mean by that is if the floor should be 100 basis points negative in the short end and going up to 0 and in the long end. Problem is that we have different risk factors on different curves. So we need to be able to set that on a risk factor level. So you can see that here you have the original stress that you want to do. You want to bring all the yield curves down by 200 basis points. But if that would happen to end up in a negative territory, then we need to have the floor. And as you can see now, you can have a tenor specific floor that varies along the tenor. And we can see here for the SEK government rates at 20 years or above, the floor will be 0% interest rate. So that's the flooring feature. It will be applied after the shock. So first you test the shock, and then you add and then check against the floor. So let's see how this works. Let's go over to the ARMS and let's choose a portfolio. And then we can see that we got these scenarios we need to recalc. And then we can see we got his scenario February of 2019. So let's try that. And we can see that all the equities are tested as the change from the 1st of February to the last. And then we can see the results of that. Obviously, it's only the equities that move, but we can see that this was a period of gains for everyone except for Swedbank that went negative in this period of time. So this is a simple way to create historical scenarios. So let's see the other one that we made. It was the target yields. So let's try that one as well. And now we can see we have all interest rates are targeted at 3%. And then we can see the change in valuation for that. And we can see that the bond portfolio is losing value, which is expected, as if you move the interest rates up from the current level, you would expect a loss in value of these bonds. And we also had the flooring, so we can just check that as well. The parallel shock down, for instance. We have the SEK curves, and these SEK curves would definitely end up in negative territory, as we would start already in negative territory, so they would end up in the floor. We can't see the effect of the floor, but we can see that the valuation effects is not that dramatic, which means that the floor is actually effectively hindering this stress test to be 200 basis points down, because that's not a realistic stress test case. That's it. That's what I wanted to show you. Thank you very much.